Hey guys, it's so good to see you. Thank you for joining me for our video lesson today over Africa and the biomes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. The African continent has 5 different biomes. The equator goes right through the middle of the continent. This means that most of Africa is in a tropical zone. Being in a tropical zone means that it's always hot with no seasonal change in temperature. The changes in climate are about the rainfall, since it's always hot. The wettest part of Africa is the Congo rainforest, which is just north of the equator. From there, the continent gets drier and drier as you travel away from the rainforest. As you move out of the tropical zones and into the more temperate zones of the northernmost and southernmost parts, there's very little rainforest because of the lack of rainfall. So you will not find much temperate forest or any other polar regions in Africa. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the biomes. A large part of Africa around the Congo River is a rainforest. Many tropical forests in Africa have a wet and dry season. Plant growth is very thick. Vines weave their way through the forest, and very little light gets through to the forest floor. It is home to many different kinds of plants and animals. Next up is our grasslands. A large portion of Africa is a tropical grassland called the savanna. Tall grasses and thorny bushes grow. Trees may stand alone and herds of animals graze here. It does not rain very often, and animals migrate seasonally in search of water. This brings us to our desert. The Kalahari Desert is hot and dry all of the time. There's a time of very little rain and a time of no rain. The San people have lived in this harsh place for 1,000 or more years. Traditionally, they were nomadic in order to follow the water. When it rained, they built shelters each night, moving constantly in search of budding green plants. They built larger huts in a circle during the dry season around permanent water holes. Most plants were dead or dormant during this time, and the nuts were all that they could gather. Meat was particularly important in the dry months when wildlife could not range far from the water holes. These people knew which plants have roots that store water in order to live off the land in this way. Much land is needed in which to roam. Farming and parks have left the San people with much less land than they once had. Many have been forced to farm or work on farms. Next up is the mountains. The mountains have permanent snow fields, and glaciers at high elevations are found in some of these mountain ranges of Africa. Many of the mountains are volcanic in origin. Other ranges are a result of a collision of our continental plates. The Alpine region in Africa contains some bizarre vegetation unlike any other alpine plants found in the world. That's pretty cool, huh? Last but not least are the wetlands. There are wetlands scattered throughout the grasslands of Africa. The Nile River forms a delta where it meets the Mediterranean Sea. The Sud is another large wetland near the source of the Nile River. The Okavango River does not empty into any ocean or sea. Its waters empty into the northern part of the Kalahari Desert, where they evaporate or join the water table underground. Each year, the delta of the Okavango is flooded. It provides much needed water, a rich habitat for many animals. Thank you so much for joining me for today's lesson over our continent of Africa and the 5 biomes that we have. So we can see them here. We have our tropical rainforest. We can see our grasslands here. Then we go up to our desert. And you can see that we have a couple spots where we have our wetlands. It's very few compared to the size of our grassland and our of our deserts. So thank you guys so much, and I look forward to giving you your next few lessons over the continent of Africa. Bye, guys.